Now that we've gotten deeper on AWS CodeDeploy's AppSpec file and the common types of deployments, let's look at an example. In this demonstration, we will be seeing the execution of a rolling deployment. I'll be submitting a revision for deployment, and then we'll watch a page that shows each instance receive and deploy the change and allows us to see all of the fleet at the same time. As always, there was some preparation done before the point that I'm going to show you. First, I launched a fleet of 4 EC2 instances into a VPC. I used a user data script to install Apache, the CodeDeploy agent, and to grab the instance ID from the metadata so that I can display it when the Apache page is built. After the instances were launched, I used CodeDeploy to push out an initial deployment that created the index.html file in the appropriate directory, and to start Apache. The initial deployment is when I created the application and deployment group that I'll be using for this demo. That is what we're looking at now when we look at the fleet page that was built. What we see here is 4 frames, one for each instance in the fleet. The frames show the instance ID of each individual instance, and they refresh every 3 seconds. The refresh is so that we can see as the deployment completes for each of the instances. Because I want to show you a rolling deployment, in this case it's one at a time, this shows you the instances changing individually. The scenario we're working with here is that my organization has a site for our end users to access. Feedback from the users has come in stating that the background colors conflict with the text. The organization has decided on a new background color and they want the change to be pushed out immediately. What I'll be doing is using CodeDeploy to replace the current index file with a new one where the only change is to the background color. I have created the replacement index file, created the AppSpec file, packaged the revision, and pushed it to the repository. Now that I'm ready, let's look at what needs to be done to execute the rolling deployment. Already in the CodeDeploy console, I'm going to go into the application that I've created for this, which is the Rollout Deploy demo. And I'm going to select my deployment group labeled Rollout Fleet. With that selected, I'm going to pick Deploy New Revision and go into Create Deployment page. You can see here that because I came from my deployment group page with the specific deployment group selected, the application and deployment group fields are already filled in. All I need to do now is put in my revision location, which is my repository in S3, and verify that everything else is where I want it. Because we want to do a rolling deployment, we will use CodeDeploy's one-at-a-time deployment configuration. As I stated earlier, I'm going to be overwriting files in order to update the fleet. So for content options, I want to make sure I select Overwrite the content. If I do not do this, the deployment will fail because the files already exist. For my rollback configuration, I'll want to make sure that it rolls back if the deployment fails. And with that selected, I'm ready to deploy. Going back to our monitoring page, we can now watch for each of the frames to turn from purple to the new color, pink, one at a time. What's happening here is that CodeDeploy picks one of the instances in the fleet and triggers the agent on the instance to get the revision to instantiate the new deployment. Once the agent has retrieved the revision package, it is instructed by the AppSpec file to stop Apache, swap out the index file, and then to start Apache back up. When each instance reports a success, CodeDeploy will move on to the next instance in the fleet to start the process again. Now that we see all of the instances have been updated one at a time, you should have a clearer picture of what a rolling deployment style looks like.